My name is Tracy Champagne, and welcome to the Connect Show. This is our brand new experience to help small business owners thrive. We are excited to bring you this show every week on Tuesdays at 10 a.m.
So to start the show, we'd like to have you put something in the chat. What is your best networking tip? And Tracy, what do we have coming up for today?
Today we have two wonderful guests. First, Chris Rivera works with entrepreneurs and network marketers on how to close that gap to begin following through the action steps that generate revenue and clients. And second, we have Josh Klemons, who is a digital storyteller strategist and the founder of Rivera Communications.
And of course, Kim will be giving a
And of
networking
course,
report. Tell them how they can like and subscribe, Tracy.
please like and subscribe. And if you're listening on this podcast, YouTube, or Facebook, and reach out to us at theideas@theconnectshow.com. We want to hear from you and answer your questions.
We'd like to give a shout out to our sponsor, Serendipity Labs, here in Wauwatosa, Wisconsin, is the flagship of Serendipity Labs. There's also Serendipity Labs in 40 other locations throughout the country. What I like most about this co-working space, it's big, it's beautiful, there's 100 offices, there's lots of people, but the thing I like most is there's a thing called the Zen Den. It's a small yoga studio that we can use throughout the week. And what that yoga studio allows us to do is it gives us a place just to kind of get away. It smells nice. They went to Whole Foods and they got some misters that smell really good. And they got some mats and it's just chill. It kind of overlooks a little garden. So I like to point out different things that I love about the lab. And, you know, it's a great way for me to get away for 10 minutes and just relax and do some of those things that we share in Vitamins for the Soul.
That's awesome. And we'd also invite you to be our guest on our show. So if you or anybody you know would like to be a guest on our show, please email us at ideas@theconnectshow or go to our website and /be our guest. And there's a little form in there you can fill out and we'll get your information. And if you're new to the Connect experience, each month we have a business topic. Next month, we're talking about business acceleration. And in December, starting of the new year and a Christmas party.
There's replays of the Connect shows. You can catch it on podcasts, vodcasts, individual segments. So if you really liked one speaker and you'd like to share some of their quotes or their whole segment, feel free to share these on social media. It helps us reach more people. And if we can reach more people, our community grows, which will help your business thrive.
And an important part of our growth is keeping connected to one another. So please put your contact information in the chat so we can help each other thrive.
Yeah, we want to stay connected. Our quote for the day is, "The secret of change is to focus all of your energy not on fighting the old, but on building the new." And that was by Socrates. I love that quote, and I think it's a perfect quote for our guest today. So, Tracy, what is one small habit that you would like to adopt? And this fits perfectly with our quote of building on the new. What is one small habit that you'd like to adopt for 2022?
I don't think this is really kind of a small habit, but I'd really like to work on that morning routine, the routine that you get up every morning and you have a certain set of things that you do to help make your day successful. And the first thing that I want to do with that morning routine is to add more water into my diet, because first thing I want to do is drink coffee every day. And then I never make it to water until about 4 hours later. So I want to change that up and do water before coffee.
Water is good. I heard Brendan Burchard has a thing where he swears by drinking 20 ounces of water right when he wakes up. And I've heard different versions of that from a number of different people who are super successful. And it just talks about hydrating your body, you know, getting that water and kind of stretching the core or just stretching. So
what about you?
Well, I was going to ask you,
small habit.
What else would you like to do other than drinking water?
I think I'd like to. I know they also say that it's important to spend time on yourself first thing in the morning before spending time with any of your clients or loved ones. So I want to make that a priority also by doing something that I think is going to put me in the right mindset throughout the day. But I'm not 100% sure what I want that to be yet. So I
Yeah.
think I need to keep trying different stuff.
Yeah, there's meditation and walking and working out, and everybody's got their own thing. So it's takes a bit to find what works best for you.
Yeah, walking and working out is not going to work first thing in the morning. It's just not going to happen. I don't know how people say they do that. I've tried it. I can't do it.
Okay. Well, we have vitamins for the soul coming up, but let's take a look at the chat before we go there. Um, Jennifer Buchholz said that there's water in Diet Mountain Dew, which is true. Yes. Yes. I like that. And Mitch said that
Maybe I
everyone.
can ease my way over.
Say it again.
I said I can just ease my way over slowly into water.
Right? Yeah, no need to rush. Uh, Everyone is wired differently. Some people can work out early and some later in the day. And yeah, that's understanding yourself and getting in touch with, how you most efficiently, can build your energy. Going back to Brendan Bouchard, he always talks about resetting your energy in the middle of the day. I have like a low point in the middle of the day. And so I can do a couple of things. I could take a nap, I can do yoga, or I can go for a run. And they all can do like an energy reset for me. So Mitch, you were right on. And then Van says there's also beer is water too. So, and we got an amen on that one.
Well, I guess that is true.
That is. And
I
speaking
don't
of
know
good
if you guys
habits,
recognize. I don't know if you guys recognized, but Bob, you asked for some networking tips. There's some great ones at the beginning of the chat. You really got to scroll up, though.
can you share them with us,
I
Kim?
can. Mitch says best networking tip: follow through.
Mm,
And then Jennifer says pro networking tip for introverts: work the wall. Introverts won't be buzzing in the hive in the middle, so they will hang out on the wall. And I think that's fabulous because I'm probably one of the wall huggers. So those were some great tips at the beginning. I think Bill Sargent said it's all about the person, not the business. It's
Yeah.
relationships, not sales. So those are some great networking tips from the chat.
it really is. Those are great. And with that, let's talk about some good habits and vitamins for the soul.
Awesome. Vitamins for the Soul is a new segment where we share good habits and tools to help you on your journey.
Success is a result of consistent good habits. We do these each week, and we want to share some of the good habits and good things that we've learned along the way and strategies that we use to help you thrive in your business. So, Tracy, what's on tap for Vitamins for the Soul today?
Well, I hear you've been talking about this coffee, and I know I'm supposed to be drinking more water, but I want to hear more about the coffee that you were telling me about the other day.
Oh, the mushroom
Something with
coffee?
mushrooms.
Yo,
Yeah.
hey Z, there's a brown pack of magic powder next to you. Could you hand that to me? That doesn't sound weird. Hey, just give it a toss. There you go. Oh yeah, we were ready for this. We got it. So this is mushroom coffee blend, and it helps with focus, immunity, and energizing. And it contains lion's mane, Cardi or Cardiceps, one of the two, turkey tail, reishi extract, and ginkgo biloba. And I'm not making most of these up. Most of these are actually real. But the point is that it contains a bunch of mushrooms, herbs, and spices that help you focus. Now, there's a lot of information out there about how mushrooms help with giving you like laser-like focus and clarity and lots of energy. And people use everything from lion's mane mushrooms, which are focus-based mushrooms, all the way to the psychotropic, psychedelic mushrooms. And they use those in like controlled micro doses. I don't know a whole lot about that, and that's not good for my system. But in the other side, in the lion's mane, where we're using focus-based mushrooms, I do see a help. And I don't know if it's the placebo effect, but I do like these. The cool thing is that at Whole Foods or Outpost or wherever you go, you can get these little packets for a couple bucks or a buck or two, and then you can try out what works for you. Because for everybody, these, especially with these herbs, like melatonin works great for some people, and then other people, they just stay up all night tripping. So it does different things for everyone. So have you tried any of these mushroom supplements or any type of coffee supplements?
No,
Oh.
and I would be very hesitant to try a mushroom coffee because mushrooms are just yucky.
You don't think that? Well, you don't want. They're not like, it's a powder, so you don't see them.
I suppose I
Yeah.
will try it then. I will try it,
Yeah, don't wash your mushrooms.
especially
You
if it's
gotta
going to
wipe
give you
them
more
off.
energy and it doesn't have caffeine in it. Is it just natural? No caffeine?
Contains caffeine. Yeah, everything's got caffeine.
Oh, it has caffeine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like all these like supplements, it's just like caffeine, and then they put some other stuff to make it sound cool. Because if they just gave you straight caffeine, you probably wouldn't buy it because it's not that cool. And they give it a nice name, Om. So I want it. I'm a sucker. That's why I spend $40 at Whole Foods when I go buy a piece of pizza, because I buy everything at the front counter, and it's right across the street. That's why I'm broke. True story.
I'm still
So-
stuck on Starbucks.
Yeah. What's your favorite Starbucks
but
coffee?
I will. Right now, this fall harvest one they have is really good.
Mm-hmm. What's in the fall harvest? Just coffee, or is it like
I
a
don't know,
mixer
some
drink?
sort of just coffee. That one's just coffee. But if I'm ordering a drink when I go to Starbucks, it would be the cold brews.
Mm-hmm.
Cold brews are good. And of
So-
course, in some sort of tall, fancy cup.
Why don't you show us the your vitamins for the soul for the day? The thing. Z's gonna do it right now. There we go. Cue the cats.
So our giveaway today is a John and Tracy, the Connect Show with John and Tracy coffee mug. And you can see it right there on the website if you go to /giveaways or in the email that we sent this morning. Anyways, you have 31 minutes to get your entry in to win the cup
Fix it in a little bit.
on the website just by entering in your email address.
Well, that sounds fantastic. And with that, everybody has an opportunity to join the giveaway, and we are going to go to commercial. And I think, Tracy, you're going to tell us about our first guest.
Yes, many entrepreneurs start a business to create something special. They have a gift or a skill they want to share with the world through their business, and in doing so,
They want to create a sense of fulfillment, joy, and happiness, balance in their life. There's a sense of peace that comes from creating a successful business. And with that, we'd like to welcome our guest, Chris Rivera. Chris, we're going to bring you up on the screen with Tracy and myself and welcome you to the show in just a second. And we are very excited to see Chris. There he is. How's it going, Chris? There we
How you
go.
doing, John?
Oh, I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Fantastic. Hello, Tracy.
hey, Chris. So tell us one big success or win you've had in the last week.
One big success. So I was talking with a client, and he was having difficulty figuring out what habits he wanted to change. He had all these different things that he wanted, these changes he wanted to make in his life. And we figured out that whatever your goal is, figure out what habit change is going to help you get closer to that goal. So you don't want to try and change everything at once. Just change that one thing that's going to make the most impact towards getting towards that goal. And now he has clarity and he feels a lot more at ease with that change.
So, Chris, I suffer from self-sabotage. I got a thing, I get to a point, I make a certain amount of money, I get to a certain amount of busyness, and then it just kicks in. I know it's there. I'm aware of it. I don't know if they have a solution yet, but it shows up in the form of maybe not emailing people as quickly as I should, or getting in contact with people about an upcoming event all these different ways that it shows up. What do you suggest with people who are cursed with this affliction, how they can deal with it?
Let me answer that with an analogy. The analogy of what came first, the chicken or the egg. Well, in this case, what comes first, the seeing or the believing? What story are you telling yourself? Because as I'm listening to you talking, you're explaining what happens when you get to a certain amount of money. You're explaining all the things that are going to happen. And so that story that you're telling yourself, that's what ends up becoming your belief system. And once it's your belief system, now you begin to see it manifest in your life. Because we don't do what we know, we do what we believe. And so if you believe you're going to hit a certain level and then top out there, and then it's downhill from there, you're going to see that manifest in your life. So I encourage you, what belief system or what story do you want to tell yourself? That's the story that's going to create your life. And you can change that story at any given moment.
So you talk about building your own empowering belief system. Can you explain a little bit more about that?
So your belief system, what it really is your self-image, right? So your self-image dictates the success, or sets the limits of your success. It sets the boundaries of your success is what it really does. So if you were to imagine a circle, and that would be your self-image. Everything you've accomplished in your life, your accomplishments, your failures, everything you've done is within that self-image. So suppose you want to achieve something when it lies outside that self-image. Well, that means you just have to expand it. You have to expand your belief system. And that's really around creating a mindset of what do I need to achieve? Who do I need to become in order to achieve that? And it can be frustrating at times. But if you're willing to take the time to create that belief system, and like we said before, what story are you telling yourself? If you take the time to create it and use your imagination, well, then now you can create whatever belief system you want. Are you willing to put it into work? Do you have a goal that's important enough in your life that you want to create that belief system? So that's how I would go about that.
I love that. Go ahead.
I have a question about that. So what if you want to do that? You want to make a change, but you're not exactly sure what that change is going to look like. So you don't know exactly what you want, but you know you want something else. How do you get to that point?
Okay. So let's take, for example, that habit you wanted to change with water. Okay. You know you're supposed to drink more water. We know this, but we don't do what we know. We do what we believe. So what I would ask is, why do you want to drink the water? What's the purpose? Because habits are not always easy to change, right? Eating healthy for the sake of eating healthy is not always fun. If you want to stop drinking alcohol, well, that's not fun if you have to tell your friends, I don't want to go drink anymore. My question to you is, what's your purpose? What's your goal? What are you going to align that habit change with? So when I was talking with my client, William, he said, I got to make all these changes. William, what's your goal? And he couldn't tell me what his goal is. Like, well, then what's the incentive for making that habit change? You have no incentive. So we live here in Chicago, and I said, William, what about the marathon? Have you ever run a marathon? Because he said he loved to run. And he's like, yeah, I really always wanted to do that. Now he was in his early 60s, but I said, it doesn't matter. You could run it. Now he wants to run this marathon. Now, if all those habit changes he's talking about, now he has incentive to stick with it. So, Tracy, whatever your goal is, tie it around health. And now you have incentive to get up and say, I'm going to drink this water and skip the coffee because it's in alignment with this vision I have for myself. Now you're going to stick with it.
Great stuff. So, Chris, I think your feed, your visual might be stuck, and they're going to unstuck it in a moment. But we're going to stay on you and say, what steps can we take to make the story that we've created about our life come to become reality?
Well, first of all, if you want more clarity on creating that story, I encourage you to get on my calendar to meet with Chris.io, and that's exactly what I help my clients with, is creating that story and clarity. But actionable steps are, think about what are the things that you've always wanted, and think about who or what is keeping me from doing that. Oftentimes, it's just ourselves. Once you accept that, you realize you can create any story you want. It's really that simple. It's so simple that people overlook it. And start thinking about all the things that you're going to experience once you've achieved that goal. Here's how I like to put it. Most people think of their goal, and that's as far as they get. Let's say I want to take my yearly income and make it my monthly income. So I want to earn, instead of earning $50,000 a year, I want to earn $50,000 a month. But that's as deep as it gets. And most people are just walking generalities. They have these general goals, these general things they want to achieve. But if you get really clear and specific about what it is you want, you're no longer thinking of the goal, you're living from it. And that is a world of difference. To live from your goal achieved, that's when you start tapping into your imagination. And all those things, all those steps, that basically what we call the how, you're tapping into the how of how you're going to get there. But if you don't get clear and specific about it, you're always going to think of it as something outside of you. So start to internalize that. Does that make sense?
Story for ourselves. And Bill had a great comment. He says, if the dream is big enough, the facts don't count. That's pretty good.
Exactly. It is. And many people have heard that quote, but many people never take the time to create that specific dream. Mm-hmm. Because there are people in this world who have never read a self-help book. They've never done a moment of meditating. They have no mentor. They don't know anything about personal development, yet they're going to succeed. Why? Because that dream and vision is big enough that they don't care. They are going to get it. On the flip side, you have people who have all the resources. They have the network, they have the education, the certifications, the education, but they're not going to do anything big in their life because they haven't gotten exactly clear on what it is that they want. So having that clear vision for what it is, that exactly what it is you want, that can make up for a lot of things in your life. I'm not saying reading self-help books and mentors and eating the proper foods, that doesn't help. That definitely helps as you achieve success and want to maintain it. But starting out, nothing compensates, nothing replaces having that specific dream that you want. And there's an art to creating it. That's exactly what I help my clients with, creating that specific dream and that vision for what you want.
Absolutely. That is great.
It kind of reminds me like when you were a kid and your parents ask you to go do something and you're sitting there off and your brain's off in la la land and you're daydreaming. I'm assuming that visioning is kind of like what daydreaming is, when you're just sitting there fantasizing or thinking about other things that you would rather be doing right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's true. We are conditioned to think of what it is that we want and then just jump right into action, jump into a flurry of action, but never stopping and thinking, how do I want to do this? I see how he's growing his business. I see the success that she has. And we think, oh, that's what I want, so I want to replicate it. I want to do it his way, or I need to do it the way she's doing it. Never taking into account that you have your own experiences, your own gifts, your own self-reflection, and you can create your own success. So you can take qualities from different people, but instead of jumping into action right away, just sit back and think, okay, what it is do I want? And what you realize, and a big part of this comes from meditation, is that you'll get inspired ideas. And these ideas came to you and nobody else. And if you can listen to those ideas and take action on them, well, you realize the how shows itself. You don't have to have all the steps right away.
So
That is such
speaking
an
of
important
morning
point.
routines, yeah, it is. And speaking of morning routines, I'm curious what your morning routine or your daily routine looks like so you can implement this success.
So I'll explain to you my morning routine, but then there's something I want to add on to that. It's really important. But for me, I usually get up around 4 in the morning and I do a specific 45-minute meditation, after which then I write out my I am affirmations, I write my goal, and then I do some studying, studying the right material that gets me in the right state of mind. But what I tell people is meditating may not be for you. Getting up at 4 in the morning may not be for you. And I never encourage anyone to do my morning routine because it works for me. That doesn't mean it's going to work for you. You're looking for one thing. That's it, one thing. It's a feeling. After your morning routine, you want to feel empowered and ready to take on your day. That's it. If you can achieve that, your morning routine will work. That's it. You don't have to copy anyone else. So try meditation, try affirmations, try writing your new self-image, and get to a point when you finish it, you feel empowered and excited, and you just want to take on anything that comes at you. Now that can take 15 minutes, that can take 45 minutes. In some cases, you might need 2 hours. But whatever it takes, create that feeling. That's all you're looking for. There are some tools that work better than others, but in the end, it's what's going to work for you. And I never tell my clients, you have to do this. That's irresponsible of me. I don't know your background. I don't know what things you've dealt with in your life. You may love to read. You may hate to read. So if I tell you, read this book every day, and you hate reading, well, why would you listen to me? You will know what it is that works for you when you keep trying it and you get that internal feeling that I am successful.
That's such great advice, and I appreciate your approach in not telling people what to do. I think a lot of people in the space that we're in tell people, do this and you'll have success, not realizing that everybody is different, everybody learns different. And what we're providing, what you're providing with your daily routine, what Tracy's providing with wanting to drink more water, these are all ingredients. There's spices, and spice to your liking. We can give you a recipe for making a good day, and you got to kind of adjust things so that it fits your diet, fits your personality. And so I really
That was
appreciate
awesome,
you
John.
doing that. Yeah, I just pulled that out. Anywho.
I love that recipe little analogy there.
Yeah.
That
When
was
in doubt, think of this. What's going to help me get towards my goal? You can study all these different books. You can do all these different affirmations. If you want to keep it simple, what belief system, what particular habit or idea do I need to create in my life right now to hit this particular goal? Whether it's business, whether it's health, whether it's relationship. Focus on that. Give all your attention and energy to that. And now you hit your goal. And now you move on to the next one and the next one. But don't be a walking generality. It's okay to get specific on exactly what it is you want and just work on that. And you will make more improvement. You will see your growth exponentially rise. And you just do something as simple as, how do I get in a great feeling to go after exactly what it is I want?
And a great point is you can take 1 minute. I think the people who meditate in the mountains of the Himalayas, and they spend their whole life meditating, they say that if you can get 1 minute of perfect silence and perfect, peace and calm, that is your lifetime achievement. That's what they're going for. So the bar is really low. Like if you can just sit calm for a couple of seconds, 10 seconds, a minute, whatever it is, and be somewhat clear, that's a good start, and then you can figure out the rest there after you drink your water.
Perfect. I love that.
That's awesome. Well, we can find out more about Chris at the Connextual /Chris Rivera. Is there anything you wanted to share with the audience that you are offering, or any programs or advice or anything you want to leave with our guest today?
I encourage you to get really specific on what it is that you want. If you need clarity on that, please hop on my calendar. I would love to discuss that with you. I would offer you a free coaching session, and I guarantee you're going to come out with a little extra clarity and figure out what's that one step that I need to help me get there. You don't always have to know. You don't have to know all 100 steps to get to your goal. If you just know step 1, you're golden. That's it. Because as soon as you hit step 1, step 2 shows itself. So I would love to help you out with step 1.
Chris, that is so wonderful. I really appreciate your being on the show today. Do less better, and we will see you next time. And I'm sure we're going to have you on the show again, because this was just a wonderful segment, and I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. I'm so grateful that you had me on. So wishing both of you a wonderful day and continued success.
Thank you. You too. Today's show is about networking. It's about building your brand. It's about strategy. And we intentionally had Chris on to talk about mindset. So none of these strategies, tactics, and tools are going to work unless you have the right mindset. And now we're going to bring on Josh Klemons, and he is a strategist and a tactician who's going to help us. And Josh Klemons is a digital storyteller, strategist, and founder of Reverbal Communications, helping brands of all shapes and sizes tell their stories. He has done digital work with local, statewide, and political campaigns, tiny nonprofits, and Fortune 500s, and everything in between.
He's also
how's
the
it going?
host of...
Oh.
1 second. We're not done with our huge intro yet. We got lots more to say.
We got more for you. We got more. You're also the host of Step Up Your Social, a podcast consisting of short episodes, 10 minutes or less, dedicated to quick, actionable tips to help brands take their digital marketing to the next level. You can listen to all his episodes at stepupyoursocial.com or wherever you stream podcasts. His motto is simple: you have a story, let's tell it.
Welcome, Josh. We're so glad to have you here. To start
Thanks for
out,
having me.
Yeah, absolutely. And to start out, we'd like to have you tell us about this podcast. It sounds great.
Yeah, so I listen to a lot of podcasts. I'm a big fan. And a lot of the podcasts I listen to are long. And I was thinking about starting my own just because I'm such a fan of the medium. And something I realized is that I really enjoy quick podcasts that really get to the heart of a matter and then let me get on with my day. So I started one. It's called Step Up Your Social. All the episodes are short, around 10 minutes or less. And each one provides a quick actionable tip to help the listener take their digital marketing to the next level. So sometimes it's very specific tips, like how to set up a tool that you should use, or literally free tools you should be using. Sometimes it's looking at somebody else's strategy and learning from it, or somebody's mistake and learning from it. I did an episode not that long ago about times that the airlines blew it on social and what we can learn from their mistakes. So always punch up, never down, of course. But yeah, check it out today at stepupyoursocial.com or wherever you stream podcasts.
That is awesome. So how do you help brands tell their stories online?
Yeah, I do it through a lot of different ways, everything from general consulting, strategy, and training to full-on implementation. My team and I manage social programs for political campaigns, companies, nonprofits, but then also doing a lot of strategy and consulting work, helping folks figure out how to better tell their story online. So really, I work with brands. I meet brands where they are. Some companies and nonprofits I work with for an hour, and some I've been working with for years. It really just depends on what they need, and I try to really match their needs with my offerings. So I get to work with a lot of really cool clients that way.
That's fantastic. How much time, this is the biggest question that we always get, and I'm sure you get it too. How much time does it take? You know, the people talk about being on social, and the first thing that people say is, I'm busy. I got a life, I got kids, they're in school, they're not in school, all these things going on. You know, how much time does it take to implement a good social media strategy, and where should people start?
Yeah, social media, like anything, the more you put into it, the more you're going to get out of it, of course. But I am a firm believer, and I do a lot of public speaking and writing on the fact that you can master your social media in 20 minutes a day. So a brand, if they have a plan and if they stick to it, I genuinely believe can master their social in 20 minutes a day through the very simple goal of selling. And in this case, SELL is an acronym for share, engage, listen, learn. Those are the 4 things that you need to do on a weekly basis. Share, post content. Engage, literally talk to your audience. Listen is social listening. What is your audience talking about? What are the influencers in your space, the press in your space, your competitors, what are they talking about? And then learn is checking your analytics. Because if you're talking at your audience and not checking your analytics, you're talking at them, you're not talking with them. You have no idea what's working well if you're not checking in. Your audience is regularly telling you what content they like and what content they don't. But if you're not checking your analytics, you're ignoring them. So by doing sharing, engaging, listening, and learning on an ongoing basis, week in and week out, I genuinely believe in 20 minutes a day, you can have a solid social program. Not award-winning, but solid. It keeps the ball rolling. There are other components, of course, that go into it. You have to create systems. Blogging is super important, and we can talk about all that if you'd like. But yeah, those are the 4 pieces that go into day-to-day daily management of a social channel that doesn't make you neglect your kids or your business or your personal health to make sure that your social channels are still moving along.
I can do 20 minutes a day. That's good. I like it.
That's the idea.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, can we break it down a little bit, and can you explain a little bit more details about what kind of content you're putting on social media? Is it video? Is it text? Is it images? Can you kind of give us a little bit of,
Yeah, it totally depends. For my own brand, it's different, of course, than for lots and lots of other brands. Everybody sort of needs a strategy to understand what kind of content's going to work. But honestly, a huge part of content creation is curation. You are an expert in your field. You know more about your field than your audience does. It's your job to help them feel smart on an ongoing basis. And one way to do that is to share the content that you're using to stay smart, to stay engaged, to stay up to date about your field, and sharing it in your field. So if you're creating 100% of the posts in your streams, you're missing a huge opportunity to actually be a curating expert for your audience. There's a rule in digital marketing, 80-20. 20% of your content can promote yourself. It can say, hey, we've got a sale. Hey, we're open for dinner tonight. Hey, check out the show. 80% of your content needs to be simply helpful for your audience. What does helpful mean? So many things. Like what would make your audience's life better? That's the type of content you want to share. Photos, videos, text, it doesn't matter. It matters, of course. Like the content needs to be good. But at the end of the day, you need to find ways to share content with your audience that they're excited about. And that's, again, where analytics come in. If every time you share a video, it blows up in your feed, great, like video is helpful. But honestly, plenty of brands don't have budget time, budget and time built in for video, and they do just fine. Photography in the house, and also finding content that's helpful for them. So you read an article, y'all want to share about what's going on, not just on the show, but in the neighborhood. Like what else is happening? Like y'all's show is so much bigger than your show. And the example I like to use, don't confuse your brand and your product. Your product is the show. Your brand is much larger than the show. Your brand is helping make people better at doing whatever it is that they want to do. It's networking, it's bringing people together. So if every piece of content you share is about the show, you're only talking about your product, you're missing a huge opportunity to build a brand around your product. 80% of your content should be that brand building, helpful content that says, hey, you know what? This has nothing to do with us, but there's some cool stuff going on this weekend in town. Everybody should check it out. Hey, here's a networking event. We're going to go. We're not hosting it. We're not a sponsor, but it's a really cool opportunity. That is absolutely in line with the Connect Show's brand, and it's totally good to share. And likewise, a restaurant talking about the concert next door. Maybe people come have dinner with you before they go to the show, and if not, who cares? You're showing them that you're their neighbor, their friend, part of their community. You're building a relationship by adding value to their life on a daily basis.
I really like that you gave us direct help. That is awesome. This is perfect.
That was not a criticism by any means.
No, we're gonna use this because, it's much easier to figure out what somebody else needs to do than figure out what you need to do for yourself. And even if you tell people, you should make video like this. I make video all day long. When I sit in front of the camera, what do? The salesman turns on. Come buy my video. That's what I do. And it's like, no. You're not supposed to do that. I know that, but I sometimes need someone like you to help and tell me that, and that's so important. Now, a couple of minutes ago, you mentioned an ancient term, blog.
Let's hear it.
Is that
blog, yeah.
Is blog still a thing?
Absolutely. If you're not blogging and you're trying to build a brand, you're never going to get as far as you want to get. I'll give you 3 reasons right now to blog. If you're not already doing it, these 3 reasons should convert you. If they don't, so be it. Like, your business must be doing so well that you don't need new customers, clients, or audience members, right? The 3 reasons you should be blogging, very simple. 1, it's great for your SEO. SEO is search engine optimization. It's the ability of somebody to go on Google and find you. If they search your name and you don't come up, you have terrible SEO. If they search a very general thing that you are in the space of and you're the first thing, you have amazing SEO. Most people are in the middle. One of the best things you can do for your SEO is blog. When you create blog content, you're showing Google that you're taking your account seriously. You're answering questions for your audience. You're bringing them in. So if you want more people to find you on Google, blogging is by far, other than building a solid website to begin with, by far the best thing you can do is blog. The second reason to blog is that by default, it makes you an expert. There's a concept on digital marketing called the 90, or in digital in general, the 90-9-1 rule. 90% of all users are just consumers. They read the news, they watch the videos, that's it. 9% engage and share and get involved, share the articles, share the videos, which leaves 1% of people creating all the content. So when you sit down and talk about your industry in a way that shows your expertise, by default, you're becoming part of the 1% of experts in your field. By default, super simple. And the third reason is that it creates bridges to your website. Doesn't matter how nice your website is, you can't keep asking people to go visit it, right? Like, you've got a great website, it's beautiful, you love your branding, you're trying to send people to your site on a regular basis to check out your offerings, your services, your sales. You can only ask people to visit your website so often unless you blog, and then you can ask them to come to your site forever. Blogs create bridges between your social channels and your website. You share 10 things you should be doing in Milwaukee this weekend. Drop one of them in Facebook and say, hey, got lots more of those where that came from. Head on over to the site, and at the bottom, one of those 10 things is come to the event that you're hosting. Not 10 of them are your events. One of them is your event, right? Or 10 fall fashions that you should be paying attention to this season. And maybe then there's a link to your store where you're selling your sweatshirts or whatever. You're building those bridges, but you can't just say, hey, check out my sweatshirt, because that's content for you. But if you're adding value that ultimately leads to the sale, the audience build, the trust, that's okay. It's not that you can't develop relationships that help your business. It's that only trying to help your business is a surefire way to quote unquote fail at social. Nobody is going to take you seriously if every post they see from you is asking you to buy something from them. So instead, add value, which seamlessly works their way into that sale. Does that make sense?
It makes
Did I sell you? Did I convince you?
I'm going to start blogging tonight. And
I can't wait to read it.
real specific. I want to get into a tactic and a strategy here that's very specific to, I think, everybody who's here. We're all predominantly LinkedIn. I write a blog on my website, beautifully crafted, wordsmithed, ready to go. How do I put that on LinkedIn? You've got 2 choices. You've got 2 options. 1, share a link to it, right? 2, recreate it as an article in LinkedIn. And I highly recommend you test. I have read lots of people say that articles have done really well for them. I invested a bunch of time trying to get articles to work well for me, and they never did. And after a lot of time of investing in the LinkedIn articles, I just never found value, and I stopped. Now, maybe it's been a couple years, truth be told. Maybe I should try again. But I tested pretty heavily. Will articles actually help me get in front of more people? And the answer was definitively that they will not. So better bet, just post a link to it in LinkedIn, but do not sell your product, sell your brand. Don't just drop the link in there and expect people to flock to it. They're not gonna. Add value to their timeline.
If you can't add value to where people are, you're just clutter. You're just in their way. So make sure that LinkedIn post by itself helps me be smarter at whatever it is you want me to be smarter at. And then invite me to learn more at your blog. Don't just tell me you have a new blog post, because I hate to break it to you. The world's not sitting around waiting for your blog post. You have to give them a reason to want to check it out.
Nobody cares. So you're going to write
one other hack. I'll give you one more hack since we're LinkedIn folks. Putting the link in the first comment can also often outperform putting it right in the post.
That's what I was going to ask. I'm glad you covered that, because that's like a real specific, so you're saying write a juicy little nugget to get them excited, and then put a link in the comments, and then that's kind of the structure.
My recommendation is do both over the course of a few months, and then test it and see which one works better for you. But absolutely, that is something that I have read about and seen in action. But LinkedIn's a little bit more random with that. I don't find it to be like, you're not going to get 10 times more reach by putting it in the comment. So if it's easier for you, it's fine. But that is definitely something I would test. And I would test articles. I can tell you from personal experience, articles didn't move the needle for me, so I stopped investing the time. But yeah, test both. And frankly, LinkedIn too is very weird about pictures. Test that as well. Put a photo or a graphic in there and see how that performs for you versus not, because you never really know with LinkedIn. It's kind of random. They really like text. Sometimes they love photos, sometimes they don't.
Tracy, are you able to read Jennifer's comment?
A little bit. Was that about Sue Gresham?
Yeah.
I see that they said not to do that.
They said not to put the link as the first comment in the thing.
I've heard of it both ways. I've heard of it making it in the post or in the comment, and I've heard like a 50-50 balance. On some people say it's better one way or the other.
I think what she's saying is,
which is why my advice.
Yeah, be the second comment, not the first comment.
Oh.
Yeah, they don't like you to be the first comment. They're on to us.
This all goes back to the importance. I didn't say to do it. I said to test it, right? See what works for your audience. Yep. You never know. But yeah, the LinkedIn algorithm, just like all the other algorithms, are constantly changing. And part of our job is keeping up with them and understanding what's going to work well and what's not. Once upon a time, the only thing LinkedIn liked was really long form text posts. Now, most of the stuff I see has photos in it, right? For a long time, they hated photos. Now they don't. For a long time, they were obsessed with video. You might remember about 2 years ago, every video in your feed had 100,000 views. When's the last time you saw a video on LinkedIn? Probably did, but it probably didn't have tens of thousands of views. Like, that was something they pushed hard for a bit, and then they sort of like took the gas off of. So it's all about like, don't just have a strategy and live with it no matter what. Check your analytics. If you're not checking your analytics, you're literally wasting your time because you have no idea what's working and what isn't.
Test, measure, adjust.
It really does make a difference on who your audience is. I think that's the key factor.
Absolutely.
So I'm curious. Our topic today is about networking. How much networking are you doing, and do you have any good networking tips for us?
First of all, my biggest tip for everybody is that they should think of social media as one giant digital networking event. Would you ever walk into a networking event and hand everybody your business card and try to sell them a product? It's a great way to not get invited back next year, right? Like, nobody wants to talk to the person that's trying to sell them the car at the networking event. But if you can walk into that room and delight people, engage people, entertain people about cars, and they walk away with your business card, they'll write a note on the back, and the next time they need a car, you're going to be their first phone call because, oh yeah, that guy was great. He was really interesting and helped me save 10 miles on my gas every month, whatever. So I think that's the first thing. The next thing I would say, highly recommend Facebook groups. Some of them, especially in a pandemic where I used to go out into the world all the time and meet with people in real life. Now, the vast majority of my networking happens in Facebook groups, and I can't tell you how much value Facebook groups have added to my professional and, frankly, personal life. I am a smarter marketer, networker, everything because I have Facebook groups. I found some really great groups. I wish that LinkedIn groups were as useful as Facebook groups are today. LinkedIn was first to the party with groups, and then they just kind of stopped investing in it, is my experience. And if that's not your experience, everybody has a different social experience, but I still get a ton of value from Facebook groups. When I started my podcast, I went to Google first. read as much as I could because I didn't know anything. I was a listener, but this was years ago. I didn't know anything about hosting a podcast. So I went to Google, I read as much as I could. I got so much conflicting information and back and forth, and I left as confused as I went in. So I went and found a Facebook group, tens of thousands of members. Every time I have a question, there's like 1,000 people way smarter than me running podcasts with way larger audiences and way more complicated situations. And I know for sure I can go in there and either find the question they've already asked, and if they haven't, I can ask it myself and get an answer really quickly. It's the next level of like Google. It's like creating communities of people that are answering each other's questions, helping each other succeed.
That's better than the commercials. Some of their commercials are pretty good. Josh, we are so happy to have you on the show. This has been so wonderful to you gave us strategy, you gave us tools, techniques, things that we can implement today, and we greatly appreciate it. It's been wonderful. And if anyone would like to know anything more about Josh, you can go to theconnectshow.com/Josh Klemons. We'll put a link in the chat. If it's not already there, we'll put it on the screen. We will write it on the side of the building and make sure that everybody knows where it is. So when you come to Serendipity Labs, you know how you can get in touch with Josh. And with that, we are going to, yep.
I was going to ask if he had anything he wanted to offer our guest today.
Yeah, absolutely. I have a free checklist that I created for Facebook Live. You can download it for free at bit.ly, bit.ly/Facebook Live checklist. And if you go there, you can download it. It's just things to think about before, during, and after you go live on Facebook to make sure that you have the best experience for you and for your audience.
That is wonderful. Awesome. We're going to download it.
Thanks.
And with that, Tracy, we have networking coming up, don't we?
But first, the giveaway.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. What's the giveaway looking like today? What do we got going on? Do we know what we're getting? I was busy during that time, so what did you do?
Oh my gosh, it wasn't that long ago, John. It was the cool mug with our logo on it. So cool.
I haven't slept in like 4 days, so I'm just I'm catching up here.
All right, we're gonna give away. We have to come up with a little giveaway splasher part for this part too, I think.
I'm on it like bubonic.
Yeah, we need something. Oh, this is when we were going to have a little musical, I think. We got to brainstorm on that. Okay, our winner is, drum roll, Mitch Nellis.
Good job, Mitch. Whoop, whoop. Nice. So let's do a little sponsor plug. Again, we got to tell you about our wonderful sponsor, Serendipity Labs. We love it here. If you are in the neighborhood, definitely stop down to the studio. We'd love to show you around. It's kind of cool in here. We think it's pretty groovy. And we can give you the tour. There's a couple of different cafes, great coffee, and magic water. And we found out what they put in it. And yoga, yes. It's sugar something, I don't know. So tell us about our next show, Tracy.
Our next show guests are David Goodall and Michael Rampola. So pretty excited to have them on next.
That's some big hitters. This is going to be great. Make sure you like, subscribe, follow, and share if you're listening to this on podcast, video, YouTube, or Vimeo, or any of the other millions of channels that this show is on nationwide. We're bigger than U.S. Steel. And give us a couple of thanks.
And we want to thank Sandra, our makeup lady, Kim for our networking, David, Xander, our video gurus back there behind the scenes, and all of our guests today for coming.
And
don't leave yet because we have networking until 11:30 on the same channel.
Same time, same place. Thank you, audience. Thank you, everybody, for showing up. Bill and Mitch and Jennifer and Doris, Chris for being on the show. Mitch, I think I said everybody. That's all I can see right now. Thank you, everyone. And let's network. Let's connect.